Just under 100 miles an hour onto the brakes there, into third, DSG just giving me what I want when I want it. And we got loads of grip, normally understeer here, just a little smidgen of it, running nice and wide onto the rumble strip. And now for TCR corner. Hello guys and welcome to this Volks Wizard video, which is a very exciting video today because in it I'm going to take my Mk8 Golf GTI Clubsport on track for the very first time. It's not your usual track day though. Today I'm at Bedford Autodrome for their How Fast event. You get an hour's practice and then you have to do 2 timed laps. It is just for fun, but it's always interesting comparing your lap times with those of others here today, as well as comparing times from previous events. I came here exactly a year ago in my Mk7.5 Golf GTI TCR and I set a lap time of 1 minute 30.22, which I'm hoping to beat today. And to do that, I've got 4 secret weapons: my brand new Goodyear Eagle F1 Supersport R semi-slick track day tyres, which should mean this is a very interesting video. To make it even more interesting, I've got my good friend Simon Harper here with his highly tuned Mk7.5 Golf R, and he's going to show us how many seconds you can gain by spending about £10,000 on modifications. So without any further ado, let's see how fast my Mk8 Golf GTI Clubsport really is. Okay, before I start doing my practice laps, it's probably a good time to explain to you how this How Fast Day works. Before I got here, I'd watched a safety briefing online and I checked in. When I got here, then all I had to do was sign on, get my wristband and watch another brief safety briefing. Then we were led over here to the pits on the West circuit, and now we've got an hour of basically open pits, free practice, just to get a feel for the car, feel for the track. Then when that's done, you have to do your 2 timed laps. You go in the order of who was fastest on the practice laps, and that's good for safety because it means there aren't too many cars out together who could converge. So if you had a slow driver and a fast driver together, you'd end up meeting somewhere half around the track. So if you group people in with their speeds, then it's a lot safer. And as you can see, there are only 20 cars. There's Simon. There are only 20 cars in this session anyway, and it's quite a big circuit, 1.8 miles. So you can see there is loads of space here. Now before I don my helmet, I just want to show you the transponder because as it's timed, they don't use something old-fashioned like stopwatches and a pen and paper. We've got this transponder on here. And a transponder never lies, right? Enough stalling. Time for me to go and take to the track in my Mk8 Golf GTI Clubsport. Okay, these first couple of laps will be just to get a bit of heat into the tyres so I can tell how much they're going to go up once they go on track. So I'm going to come back in and let out some pressure, and that then should be the warm operating temperature. The car's in sport mode. I don't have DCC, so I don't have any suspension to fiddle around with. I'm going to put the ESC very easily into ESC Sport, which gives us a little bit of stability control should the worst happen, but it doesn't ruin all the fun. And that's it. Using the paddles, so it'll stay in manual mode. Let's go. First time on track. So this is a really nasty little hairpin. The slowest corner on the track. I've just done 3 laps and I've got the car nice and hot. I've come straight into the pits to adjust the tyre pressure. The fronts were quite a bit higher on 46 psi, they should be 39. The backs have gone up to 44.5. So I've set them all to 39 now, which should see us good for the rest of the event. Okay, we're going to do a hot lap then in the practice. Got the lap timer on. Now, about 100 miles an hour to the slowest corner on the circuit. Better get that right. Into third gear, late apex. And we're running a bit wide there, but we're okay. Missed the cones. This is a tricky left-right, run it wide there, miss the cones just, and then just keep it tidy here. Now run nice and wide. This is where I'm losing speed. Got an Integra DC5 up ahead, one of the best front-wheel drive cars in the world, according to Evo, if not the best. Running wide a bit there, and this is TCR killer corner here, so into third, very late apex, can never take it late enough. Nice man, not running wide, get on the gas now, not much understeer, lots of grip, lots of power. 97 miles an hour on the brakes, into third for this sort of left-right chicane, I guess, dodging the cones that have been strewn. Traffic to dodge, into third gear for this one. Integra's going for it, but we're catching him. And then big balls for the final corner. Whew. Well, that was still a 1:33, so yeah, I don't know what's different this year. Okay, practice is over, the cars are lining up for the timed laps over there. I've got to go soon. The bad news is I'm a lot slower than I was last year. We think it's because the ambient air temperatures are so high, the turbos on the cars just aren't producing the boost.
Because I've disappeared to Asia for a few months.
So I did 130.3 or 4 last year, 134, so a good 3 seconds slower today. And Simon, with 450 horsepower, over 10 grand of mods, 131, so just under 132, and that's a lot slower than the TCR was last year. So it's not really a level playing field when we're talking about temperatures knocking on to the 30s, but it's still good fun, and it's still interesting to see how much quicker Simon's car is. Okay, in the intro, you may recall I said that Simon had spent £10,000 plus labour modifying this Mk7.5 Golf R. So there's no better person to walk us round those modifications than Simon, because there's obviously a lot for you to tell us. So
yeah,
where should we start?
Okay, start with the engine. The engine's got standard internals, fairly strong, but if you have a look over the back here, you can actually see there is a Venom turbo with a Funk Motorsport turbo blanket on it, so that's new to the car. We've also got the oil management from Racing Line, got various other Racing Line bits and bobs.
You've got Screen Wash Delete, haven't you?
Yeah. So that's a Race Line replacement filler. We've got the R600 air intake here, and then this is one of the most important bits of the car. You can just see down there the Super Pro engine mount, and that, if you looked underneath the car, there's probably about £2,500 to £3,000 worth of Super Pro kit. Lower control arms. It's got Super Pro top mounts here. It's got Super Pro anti-roll bars. That makes the car really nice on the road, not too harsh. And then in terms of the car around the brakes, it's got quite a simple brake upgrade. It's got Porsche Macan 4 pots, not particularly expensive, and it's got EBC, their floating disc with their blue stuff pads. And I have to say they've been brilliant today, and they've had quite a lot of stick. Tyres are the Dunlop Sport Max, which is a fairly sporty tyre for the track. And on the side of the car here, TVS Engineering, that is the software that is in the DSG gearbox, and that really does improve the car. It means I can hold on to the gears.
So does that mean that it won't change up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can even left foot brake now.
Wow.
If you want to.
It doesn't just cut all the power.
Yeah, you can
Amazing.
do that.
Did you mention the intercooler?
The intercooler, yeah.
That's quite important on a day like today.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's got an intercooler that originates from an RS500 Cosworth, made by Colin Ray from Creative Fabrications. And when that's been tested, that is performing better than a Wagner intercooler. And a Wagner is seen as one of the best intercoolers. So really, really good intercooler on it. Not particularly big either. So inside the car, it's got a leather interior. It didn't come from Volkswagen with this. It had a standard cloth interior. This is Napa leather that was done by Transcal in Bristol. It's lovely, and they've done the doors as well. And if you look across there, you can see the racing line paddles as well.
Oh, the racing line, are they?
Otherwise, the car is Mk7.5. Going on around the car, you've got the exhaust at the back, which is a BCS power valve. It's got a sports cap 200 sound downpipe. Quite noisy on a track day in terms of the upshifts, but actually on the road, lovely and quiet, no drone at all. The noise you get from it is when you change gear. You just get a real burp out of the back of the car, and that was a problem today with noise. And then on the back here, it's got the Oettinger rear spoiler, and that's a genuine one. That's not one of the Chinese ones that you see sometimes on eBay. And the people that have done an awful lot of work on this car, and I should mention them, are Volkswagen Group Services that are in Swindon. They've done an awful lot of work to get this car sorted out to bring it today, and that's including setting up the suspension on it as well. Yeah. So I'm really pleased with how it's performed.
Tell us about the suspension.
Suspension has got MSS, it's standard adaptive damping. It's got MSS springs, which are quite a clever two-piece spring. It's got an eye-back spring at the top, which is fairly lightly wound, and then underneath there's a tighter spring. Real clever way that it works, and it means you've got a good deal of road comfort, but then on a track you get fairly firm ride when you're pushing it into the corners. This car did have Öhlins on it. That was exceptional, but Öhlins are more than £3,000, so that's a really expensive option. To be honest, I wish I'd kept the Öhlins on. If I knew I was bringing this today, then I would have kept the Öhlins on it. But yeah, I've been really pleased with it today. It's performed well, considering it's a big, heavy lump of a car, so yeah.
Okay, there's a bit of a rush getting to the front of the queue, but I'm here now. I've turned the ESC off completely, and I've been given the green light to go. So it's a warm-up lap now. And make sure I'm in sport mode. Yeah, nothing behind me. So this is it. We are now paying for keeps. Fastest corner on the circuit, over 100 miles an hour, down to third gear, weaving around a bit, ABS kicking in then. Probably overcooked it a bit then. Into third gear, keep it nice and tight around here, but keep the beams going. Over to the right. Just under 100 miles an hour onto the brakes there. Into third, DSG just giving me what I want when I want it. And we got loads of grip, normally understeer here, just a little smidgen of it, running nice and wide onto the rumble strip. And now for TCR corner. Third gear, late apex, as late as you can, man. As late, tyres squealing. And we're around the apex, and we're on the power. Top of third gear into fourth. Just under 100 miles an hour. Into third for this tricky bit. They move the cones now, thank God. But you still have to avoid them, and we just do. Put it nice and wide now towards the pit entry, and over to the left. That's one lap done. Okay, well, we've done our timed laps and everybody's gone home now, and we're just poring over the results, which make for interesting reading on this very hot day when cars don't work very well. So, practice. Let's start off with practice then. So I did a 134.334 and best speed was 68.7 miles an hour. Simon did, what were you there, 131?
I was 113.19, but I didn't do many laps initially. because I was fairly low on fuel.
Oh really? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been here already for the track day on the
I've been
main
track day
circuit.
this morning.
Yeah. So, and your top speed was just over 70 miles an hour. So,
Yeah.
both of those times, even Simon's with 450 horsepower, 10 grams worth of mods, was slower than my TCR was a year ago, which is interesting. But speaking to anybody here, they'll tell you that at these kind of temperatures, these cars do not work as well. Anyway, excuses. Onto the timed lap sensor. This is where it counts. We both girded our loins and improved. So I went up from 134 to just over 132, and you went up about a second, or down about a second, should I say, to 130.9. So we both focused our minds and did all right. But as I say, even Simon's car, even with that gain in time, was slower than the TCR. So I think we need to come back when it's cooler and try this again, but unfortunately it only happens once a year. So MSV, please, let's do this again in the autumn, maybe. You know, you've sold out today, there's clearly demand for this. So how did you find, what was your...
I was actually really pleased. It's the first time I've done anything timed, and just looking at these results, Andrew, looking at the hot hatches, there was a really quick BMW out there, which was a 140i, but in terms of the hot hatches, I was second quickest and you were fourth quickest. So that in that world, it's not too bad in the big scheme of things.
And there's a chap here called Andrew with a Megane Trophy. No, was it that RS 280?
Yeah, nice car.
Yeah, really nice sort of pinky red colour. And he was 9/10 of a second slower than me on his timed laps, his best lap. So you know that's a benchmark car. Okay, it's got less power. He was on Pilot Sport 4S tyres, so he wasn't on track tyres like me. But yeah, we're obviously there or thereabouts in times with some of the best hot hatches.
Yeah.
So could be worse. What was the time of the Beamer then?
The Beamer was down in the 124s.
Well, clearly he was cheating.
He was down in the 124s, which is incredible.
Yeah, but we don't know the spec of that car, so presumably that's tuned. But that is pretty incredible.
He's here a lot, I'm told.
All right, yeah, he knows it well. But another good benchmark is if you watch Adam Towler from Evo magazine wrestling the new Civic Type R limited edition around here on a pretty good day conditions wise, not as warm as this by any means, it was dry as well.
Yeah.
He set a 123, which, well, just watch it, you'll see he's working very hard.
If with a level of commitment, I think
only possible in a press car.
I don't think you would do that in your own car.
No, press car's always faster anyway, but yeah, watch that. So 123 when conditions are good in the fastest sort of hot hatch there is. That's, yeah, I don't feel too bad now. Anyway.
No, please.
Bye, Andrew. Hooligan! Before we wrap up, Simon's got an Instagram thread.
I have, yeah.
And with car-related stuff on it. What's your handle?
It's called Torque Cars, as in TORQUE, and then CARZ, Torque Cars.
Oh, with a Z on the end.
So yeah, so Instagram, and there will be a website soon too.
Okay, so Instagram at Torque Cars, TORQUE CARZ.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for watching this Volks Wizard video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Please do comment. Please do share. Please do subscribe. And I'll see you for the next one. If you like the video with Simon, just let us know in the comments. See you for the next one very soon.